welcome to Mr. Stitch Films podcast, Creepy Corner. I'm your host, Anthony M. Winson. Join me as we venture into the world of horror movies, explore chilling creepy stories, uncover unsettling urban legends, and share ghostly encounters that will send shivers down your spine. In this episode, we're sinking our teeth into a movie that horror fans alike hold very dear to their heart. Or do they? Turn down the lights, brace yourself, and step into the unknown with us. This is Mr. Stitch Films' Creepy Corner, and tonight we present John Carpenter's horror classic, Halloween. Let's get creepy. Well, this week is a first for us as we have not one, but two co-hosts. A big one welcome to returning co-host, my big brother Craig.
Hi, y'all.
And in seat number 2, we are presented with his partner, Nicholas.
It's Nick, but thanks.
Well, I was going to say, do you want to be referred to as Nick or Nicholas?
It's Nick. Thanks.
Okay.
Nicholas is the Sunday name or when he's done something wrong.
And he's done something naughty.
Yes.
So, it was both of you that brought this subject to me, because apparently Craig holds some views, I hear.
I can't remember how this even came up in conversation or
I think
what it was.
We were looking through just films to watch, and
Right.
I can't remember exactly what we were looking at, but I think it just came about that we sort of saw Halloween and we were like, we have thoughts on this.
Well, I think I said something
Yeah.
and then you were like, you should raise that with Anthony. That would make a good podcast. So that was where it all came from.
I'm intrigued. So, a little history before we begin. So, Halloween was a micro budget. I say that with air quotes, micro budget, because it still was 300,000, but grossed around 70 million.
I love that 300,000 is a micro budget. And then we were talking about Unholy last week, which you were like, 500 quid, £1,000 maybe.
Yeah.
And then it's like, here's a film with 300,000 and that's classed as a micro budget.
Yeah, that's the dream, that is. And apparently it was down as one of the most successful independent films ever. Obviously, next to such as like the Blair Witch and things like that. But because Blair Witch was like $70,000, I think it was roughly.
It was cheap as chips, wasn't it? That?
Still, 70,000 is a dream for me.
Yeah.
You know.
What would you do with £70,000?
Oh, I have ideas. There are films that I would like to make if I had $70,000 pounds.
Maybe even like a fraction of that, like £35,000.
Yeah.
That's more budget than you have ever had.
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
I know. You just
feel
be like, oh my God, I'm rich.
I feel like though, if I had $70,000 or £35,000, whatever, that I feel like it wouldn't push my creativity as much, because I feel like, you have that.
You can buy your way out of situations.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, well, we need this for the film. We'll just buy it, rather than thinking of like, well, I can't afford that. What is a workaround for this?
What's the crafty sense?
Yeah. So as much as I'd enjoy having that, I enjoyed the challenges though.
Okay.
So the film was made in spring, which was, strange being that it's an autumn film, but was actually filmed in a spring of Pasadena, California.
I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, so you must have been quite close to the sets then?
Yeah, I've been to Pasadena.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It's very nice.
I can
Pasadena,
imagine,
it's
yeah.
lovely.
It's very picturesque sort
Yes.
of area. And they used fake autumn leaves to create the illusion of Midwest autumn. And here's a fun fact that you may not know. Robert Englund was a crew member on Halloween, and he was one of the people that scattered the leaves and picked them up.
Is that before he made it big?
Yeah.
When was Nightmare on Elm Street?
88, 81, something like that. And this
Right.
was 78.
That's hilarious.
But I think Robert Englund was in stuff before that, though, in the 70s. I'm sure of it.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I just think that's hilarious, because the other tie-in as well is that if you watch the TV version of Halloween, there's a scene where Laurie meets Linda because she wants to borrow a top.
Right.
They filmed these extra scenes when they were making Halloween 2, and the living room that they're stood in is the house that they used for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did know they shot extra stuff because Jamie Lee Curtis's hair is in a towel because she cut it for another film.
Yeah.
So they were doing it was like a made for TV, it wasn't like HBO or something.
Yeah, because that's cut out all of the gore and stuff, even though there is none.
No.
No, it isn't.
Anyway, so I carry on.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I was literally about to say there was no blood used in the film. It was very minimalistic. It was mainly based on suspense and tension. that the infamous mask of Michael Myers was a reverse William Shatner mask.
Yes, didn't know that, which they dirtied up and...
Yeah, spray painted white, made the eyes a bit bigger, ripped the hair off, spray painted the hair, put it back on. The original idea was a clown mask
Okay.
for him, but
Because he has a clown mask in the opening, doesn't
yeah. So that would actually tie in why he maybe has one as an adult if they'd gone down that route. The original title for the film was The Babysitter Murders.
Right.
And I don't think it was their original idea for it to necessarily be Halloween related. They thought that it would just be a good cash-in for yearly round.
Because it was going to be an anthology thing, which is why 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah. So after 2, they were pretty much done with Michael Myers, and then that's when Season of the Witch came out.
Yeah.
And obviously it bombed so bad because people were like, "Where's Michael?" And then they brought Michael back in the 4th one.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of strange inconsistencies with the 4th one that you have to ignore, but never mind.
I feel that's the case for the entire series, really.
Yeah, see, 1 and 2 follow on directly after each other. 4 and 5 directly after each other. 6 is kind of like a standalone, and then 7 and 8 are pretty much back-to-back kind of films as well. And it's always got such a bad rep, but I loved 6.
Yeah, that's the one with Paul Rudd.
Yeah. I mean, his acting isn't particularly very good in it, but I don't know, there's something about 6. I think it's because it was the first ever Halloween that I saw.
Yeah, it's a good film, 6 is. I like 6.
Yeah, and everyone goes on about the producer's cut, and I finally saw it, obviously, many years ago. And I remember thinking, it seems very slow in comparison to the theatrical cut. But obviously, I saw the theatrical cut first, so Jamie Lee Curtis only got the role of Laurie Strode because John Carpenter wanted a connection to Janet Leigh being Psycho, and obviously Jamie Lee Curtis being the daughter. He thought, this could kind of give it a bit of star power without actually having major stars in it because it kept the production costs low.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a very clever
That makes sense.
marketing strategy that they did, because the main budget went on Donald Pleasance to play Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious the fact that Donald Pleasance was apparently apprehensive to be in the film because he didn't really want to be in like a slasher.
Right.
So they only had him for a few days, so they had to rush and film all of his stuff. And he's the only person that's pretty much in every single one.
Yeah, he went
So it was,
on to appear in almost every film.
yeah, it was like it paid for everything for him then. He was like, I'm not beneath this anymore.
Embrace the money, Donald.
Yeah. And I think it's a franchise that I think I like quite a lot because it's very straightforward. Yeah, Michael is to an extent immortal, let's say.
Yeah.
But there's not the tongue-in-cheek side of it, let's say, a Nightmare on Elm Street has, or I think Friday the 13th has to an extent as well, like the tongue-in-cheekness of the killings and stuff. Michael, I feel, is a bit more sinister.
Okay.
I mean, sure, yeah. I guess he has presence. I watched it again on Tuesday night just to refresh myself, and
Well, we'll start with when we were talking about films. Was it? I mean, what films we were looking up? I can't remember. And so we were looking for something to watch, and Halloween came up. And then I was like, oh God, I was like, Halloween. I was like, I'm going to say it. I was like, I think that film's really shit. And that was what started it, when Nick was like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. And I was just like, it's really boring. There isn't really much that happens in it. And it's like...
Craig
It's
has
really-
officially been cancelled.
It's really annoying because there's like when we're referring, we mentioned Night of the Living. Well, you mentioned Night of the Living Dead in one of your podcasts recently.
Yeah.
He was on about how I can't remember what her name is now. Barbara. In the first one, she just screams a
She's
lot.
awful.
So in the end, it's just like, will you just kill her and get rid of her because you're really annoying me?
Well, Carla said that in regards to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
Yes, I did not like that.
She just screams and screams and screams. I suppose it was a different time.
It gets annoying. And it's the same thing, I think, with Halloween a lot. There is so much screaming. And I was just like, oh my God, like, will you just hurry up and kill her already and just get it over with?
I did find it hard not to laugh when Laurie is running out the house. She trips over and then she runs across the street and is just screaming at the kid to like let her in the house. And Michael's just casually, as you like, just walking
strutting
down the
after
path, like makes no like attempt to actually get to her.
Cuts back and he's just sat doing like some taxes on the lawn. Like, I got time.
Yeah,
It's fine, she's not going anywhere.
and so yeah, I
You
sort
watched
of
it, yeah.
I agree with Craig. It's not a great film. And I admit, like, obviously it's a sign of the times and the budget
I
and things
get
like that.
that.
So things have progressed.
I'm not a
and-
movie snob, and I'm not one of these people like Nick works with certain people that won't watch films made before
2000, which is
2000, wow.
it's terrible.
So it's like, yeah, if it's made before 2000, won't watch it because it's just kind of like, no, that's old. And I'm not like that. I watch old films and I like a lot of old films. But Halloween is just one of those that it has such hype and people really protect it. But then every time I've watched it, I just sit there and I'm like, I don't get it.
It just has such a legacy behind it,
Yeah.
which is why it's like this massive sort of thing of Halloween. But the actual film itself, on its own, is kind of dull.
It's boring.
it's 54 minutes before someone gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Like, it's more than half the film. And I was just like, this is going on a bit. And I
it's
don't care
about
about
2
these
hours.
babysitters.
Is it like
About an
2
hour and a
hours?
half, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was longer than that. Maybe it just feels like 2 hours.
I remember when I was in sixth form, when I was doing media studies, we had to watch Halloween. Obviously, I'm a seasoned Halloweener, so I
Yeah.
already liked it and whatnot. But I remember a lot of people, it was their first time watching it, and some of them were saying, "Oh, I can't watch this, it's so scary." But then when it actually got 50 minutes in, they like turned to me and said to me, "This is so boring." And I can understand people if it's not something that they've grown up watching particularly, then it is a very slow burn slasher.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that there is a certain snobbery on the other side of what you said, Craig, in regards to people protecting it, that they won't face the fact that it has aged slowly. It
Yeah.
hasn't still got that oomph that it once had. And it's not a bad thing to just admit that. It's if you still watch it and you still enjoy it, that's great. But
Go for it, but you don't ignore the flaws.
yeah, yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
I can even admit it. Like, I love Halloween. Like, I try and watch it every year. And I'll admit, it is a slow and it is kind of a bit boring.
Because we did watch them every Halloween. Nick and I will choose. Is it 6 films each or 5 films each?
We tried doing 30 films
Oh,
between
we did,
us.
didn't 15 each.
15 each,
With-
but we couldn't do it because just life got in the way.
yeah, 'cause it was like one
So-
every sort of evening, and then
we
we do
took
a
that
list.
down to like 10 each, I think.
Yeah, we do a list of and like number it. So Nick will have a film, I'll have a film, Nick will have a film, and I have a film. And then every night we say to Google, pick a number between 1 and whatever it is, and what Google chooses, we watch that night.
Yeah.
And we did do Halloween's one year because I remember I was watching Halloween 1 and 2 when
We
years
did.
ago, and I think that probably was the last time I saw Halloween. Cause
I still think two's a good entry still.
2 is like really ups the
Gore and
yes, the
effects
gore.
and all sorts,
like
yeah.
the woman that gets drowned in the scalding hot
Yeah.
bath and stuff.
When
and
did 2 come out in comparison to like
I think it's about 3 years.
Friday the 13th and stuff, which obviously upped kind of
Yeah,
the-
so I think that was a big factor in it. The fact that Friday the 13th had come out and it was very gory. And I think they did say that because I think the first one is 78 and I think
Yeah.
the second one is like 81 or 82. I'm sure of it. It's around that time. And I remember them saying that I don't think John Carpenter particularly wanted to do it.
yeah,
He was-
first one's 78.
yeah.
And I think John Carpenter's pretty much dead set against doing the sequel and basically said, look, I'm not going to direct it. I'll be like a producer on it. But I think one thing he really wanted was like the gore factor because he just didn't really care too much about it.
Yeah, 81. was the second
81,
one.
yeah. Because
But they really up it in the second one in the hospital because
Yeah.
when we watched it, there was some bits when we were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
It's quite nasty. The second one is in such stark contrast to the
Yeah.
first
Because
one.
the first one, there's only like 1, maybe 2 deaths that you really actually see.
Yeah.
Because the rest of them, it's kind of like off screen or it's in shadow or
there's
you don't
not
really
any
see.
blood,
No,
really, at all. Like when you try and think
is
of
there
it.
anything? I was trying to think when he
it gets pinned to the wall and there's
does it
like
with the
nothing.
pins to the wall with the knife. There's no blood there.
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
I think the only time that you kind of see blood is when Dr. Loomis sees the car at the side of the road and he runs and sees like the clothes and then it pans
Yeah.
and you see the guy in the weird.
And there is a bit of blood on Laurie's shoulder when she gets stabbed.
Yeah,
Or ripped
Other than
or whatever.
that, yeah,
That's
it's
it.
very, very, very minimal.
Okay.
Yeah, there's and then obviously the second one they're like, yeah, fuck this, we're gonna go.
Let's go ham.
I mean, there's nurse, isn't there, that or paramedic that walks to that room and just slips in a pool of blood
Yeah.
because there's
I'm
that
trying
nurse
to
that's
think
being
of, like,
drained.
what some of the deaths are, but they're really nasty in the second one. I just remember the one about the bathtub. Is it boiling water or electrocution or something?
It's boiling water. It's like a therapy tub that he turns
Yeah.
up and puts her face in it.
Oh, it's
And
so
then-
horrible that was.
And then the woman gets stabbed with the scalpel. There's the nurse that gets bled out on the gurney. Then there's the security guard that gets strung up by the light.
Right.
And they upped that. They remade that death scene in H2O. Do you
Right.
remember the girl who gets she goes from the dumbwaiter, she gets her legs
Okay.
slammed on. When she's finally revealed to be dead, she's got like her heart ripped out, and the light is where her heart is and stuff.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so they kind of
I've
like.
not seen H2O in about 20
H2O is
years.
great.
I think I saw it once, and that's the thing with the Halloween films. There's certain ones, like 1 and 2 I've seen multiple times, 6 I've seen multiple times, but the others I think I've only mainly seen them once.
H2O is still a bloody good film.
I
It's
enjoyed
really
it,
good,
but I
yeah.
cannot remember much
Because it
about
was a big deal that Jamie Lee Curtis was
Yeah.
back, wasn't it, when
Yeah.
H2O came
She's always
out.
like, well, the funny thing is that Jamie Lee Curtis apparently approached like John Carpenter and stuff and said, like, it's been 20 years since we made the original. Let's do something. I can come back if you're on board and whatnot. Kevin Williamson, I think, wrote the original script.
Yes, I love Kevin Williams.
Yeah, I don't think it was his script they ended up using. It was like a bastardized version of his
okay.
script that they ended up using. And then, obviously, H2O was done, and she was contracted for Resurrection, which was bloody awful.
Is that the one with like Busta Rhymes in?
And Tyra Banks.
And it's like a
reality.
Big Brother reality
Yeah.
type thing.
It's
yeah,
bad.
I watched it once. I don't remember anything
They
about
had
it.
multiple
other than that.
endings that they shipped to the
I don't think
cinemas.
I've ever seen that one.
Yeah,
It's bad.
It's not good.
The
Is
lens
that the one
they
where
went-
like Laurie dies in the first 5 minutes?
Yeah.
He throws her off the hospital roof.
Yeah. The lens they had
Spoilers.
to go to
Sorry.
try and bring Michael back from H2O, because obviously she chops his head off.
Yes, she does it because he
Apparently-
gets trapped between an ambulance and a tree.
Yeah. Because apparently they wanted... The original idea was that it wasn't Michael and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, I'm calling bull on that, because there's no way a normal human would have survived that car accident.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't a normal human at that point, though. He was
But they're
like,
claiming that the person that got trapped
yeah.
was a human, just a normal paramedic that got the larynx crushed, and that's why they, all that. But the film was awful, and then it was like literally another 20 years that then
Yeah.
that Jamie Lee Curtis came back to play Laurie again in the 2018 film.
which I think was a really good film.
Is
It
that the
is.
new?
Yeah, 2018.
The
That
first
was
one
so,
was so
good.
good.
We
Yeah.
went to the cinema to watch that, and I remember because I'm sure when that was originally pitched, it was sort of like Jamie Lee is coming back for one film.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the end of Michael Myers, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I went to the cinema to watch that film, thinking this is going to be it. This is the last one.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
It was.
And then they ruined it right at the end, where he comes out of the basement. And sorry, spoilers to everybody.
Well, you don't see him come out of the basement. It's left on the fire that you don't really know.
It was like I was
It
so
was left
angry
open.
because
Yeah.
I remember we went in Cineworld, and I remember Cineworld in Nottingham is like on the top floor. It's like 3 floors up, and it's escalators all the way down. For anyone that's not been, and when me and Nick were coming down the escalators, I bitched and moaned the whole way down from the cinema because I was so angry.
It didn't bother me, because I'm always like, I love another sequel to Halloween. I'll always watch them when they come out.
But did you want that sequel?
Halloween Kills, I need to watch it again. I've only watched it once, and I felt so let down because there wasn't anything to it. I didn't
No.
feel like it had the tension that they
Because they were going to do a trilogy, so they
Yeah.
couldn't do anything with it. It was a mid thing. Like,
Yeah.
Because that was another one. We went to the cinema to watch it, and we
Yeah.
left and was like, what was that?
Yeah.
What did we just sit through? It was so pointless and such a
was.
letdown compared to the first one.
Yeah, I absolutely loved the 2018 one. I thought it was so good. I left grinning ear to ear.
Yeah,
Like Lewis said to me, like, "What do you think?" And I was just grinning. He was like, "You enjoyed that?" I was like, "I thought it was great. It had great tension,
It really
fights,
did.
and all
I feel
that."
like it had more behind it in terms of like they'd spent longer on the script.
Yeah.
They'd
It
put
felt
more
like
thought into
a
it.
really fleshed out story as it was going
Yeah.
through. And the woman that plays Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter in it, I can't think what her name is, but she crops up in all sorts. The one that's in like Jurassic Park and stuff.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
the
yeah,
mum
yeah.
to the kids,
Yeah.
and she does the voice in Archer. She's amazing. I love her. I thought she was really good in it, and
Yeah.
the one that plays her daughter,
Yeah.
I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And so they had me right up until they then left it that Michael may not be dead. And
Well,
I was
there
just
was-
like, what the fuck?
There was an original ending that they had for that where Laurie and Michael have a knife fight with each other, and she stabs him fatally, and he stabs her fatally, and I think she gets picked up, and he walks off into the woods and dies.
Right.
I think the test screening did so well that like, holy shit, we can't just kill Michael. This is a money cow now. So they went back and reshot the ending, but they've never released the original ending.
is
It's
so
in there's a scene of it in the trailer, the first trailer, where she goes to stab Michael with a knife, and it like cuts the credits of Halloween.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Halloween Kills. I loved the fact that so many of the original movie cast came back for it. Like Carl Richards, who plays Lindsay Wallace, Sheriff Brackett came back. You know, the nurse came back from the.
Oh, that was the second one,
Yeah.
Halloween Kills then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only thing, this frustrated me so much when they released the trailer for Halloween Kills. They released so many trailers, they ruined the entire film. I knew the nurse was going to die.
Yeah, because they put it in the trailer, didn't they? So it's like, as you're watching the film, like, we knew
They did that with
she was going to die.
Second, or the first one, I think, as well. Or was it? Was it the first one or the third one? They put a lot of the deaths in the trailer, and
I
it
think
was
it might
like
be the third one, possibly. I can't remember.
Because I'm always like, why do you do that? Because when you're watching a film now, you're watching it going, well, I know you're going to die.
Especially when they're legacy characters that you're excited for, and if you know they're going to die, then you can't root for them. You're like, oh, you're going to get it at some point.
You're just waiting for it to happen, so it ruins the film.
Yeah. And then Halloween Ends came out, and everyone was so upset because of COVID. It wasn't the initial script that they were going to work with. They basically were like, we're going to scrap the original third film and rewrite it completely.
Well, I was pissed off going into the third one anyway because they killed her daughter in the second one at the end. I was so angry.
Judy Greer?
Yes, Judy Greer. I was so angry when they killed her.
Yeah.
That was when we left the cinema again. I bitched and moaned from the
happens a
top to
lot.
the bottom about them killing her. Because
I was
that's
still
so annoyed
unsure
me.
when I watched it. I was like, is this a dream? I'm not sure.
I
because-
wondered about that because it's very. If I remember, because we only watched it once in the cinema, I've never seen it again. It was very choppy. The cuts or something
and
of
slow
it,
and very
Yeah.
dreamlike, like the way she sees him. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
And it was like, how did Michael get in there when there was people
it
on
was
the door?
very, very odd. So I went into the third one thoroughly pissed off.
And it made
not
no
expecting
sense
much.
whatsoever that the whole mob caught up with him, starts beating him shitless,
Yeah.
and then suddenly he gets someone manages to slash every single one of them and kills them.
Yes.
doesn't
like,
make any sense.
No, I'm not buying this. I feel like that scene in Scrubs where Jordan has the book and she's like, I'm not buying this, and like passes it back to the person at the checkout. Yeah, literally that. And the third one was awful. We watched it. And
I probably have a different opinion if I watched it now. But when I first watched it, I sort of went, because my expectations were so low,
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I was like, okay, I see what they're doing here. Like evil being passed on, being sort of made into a villain because of society, because of what happened they accused him of killing the child. So society made him bad. And so he fed
That's
off
not
Michael.
the point of what Halloween
No,
was, though. He was born evil.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a comment on society. It was just he was an evil child.
Yeah.
Michael Myers, how they made him out that he was like
A hobo in the
They
sewer.
took-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just really
Like Pennywise
weird,
vibes. It
when
was
the
very
guy,
weird.
the lad walks into the sewers for the first time and he sort of doesn't outright kill him, which
Yeah.
is what Michael Myers did with everybody.
Yeah,
And
when he's weak.
it was I was so angry. I was so
I want to
angry.
watch it again because I didn't hate it. I really didn't. I can't.
We thoroughly did. We were so bored, and it was one of those where you're bringing up the timer to see how long you've got to go. We were that bored.
I would
watching
like
it.
to have had a bigger showdown between Laurie and Michael.
It really annoyed me that they were kind of introducing a whole new, like, sort of lore and
Yeah.
story and characters and everything. And this is meant to be, like, wrapping up Laurie's
Yeah,
thing. It's
so-
meant to be her ending, and it wasn't her film.
Do you know what? I was so checked out. I cannot even remember how that film ends.
Well, they throw him into a compactor, don't they?
Yeah.
Like a what is it?
Junkyard-y
Junkyard
type thing.
up the for like
Don't even remember that.
shredding cars. Those big wheels
Yeah.
that break up all the metal and stuff like that. I think if they had brought that lad in the second one and introduced him in the
Yeah,
second film
earlier on.
I think it would have held a lot more.
It just would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Like,
It
was
just seemed strange just for them to throw him in, or even a 5-minute scene in the first one,
Yeah.
and then a bit more in the second.
It would have
and
made
then-
the second one make more sense as a film and give the second one more of a purpose
Yes.
if you're introducing this new
Yeah.
cast and this new storyline.
Even just the character of Laurie in the third
so
one.
different.
Yeah. When all of a
She's
sudden,
like, she's over it all.
Yeah, I was about to say, literally, like, she's over the trauma, it's done.
Yeah.
And,
Moving on.
Like, yeah, I'm moving on. Like, even though in the first one, she's been this recluse in this house for
40
years. And then in the second one, she still has that kind of.
Well, she's in
like,
hospital, isn't she?
Yeah. And then in the third one, no, all of a sudden, she's living with the granddaughter.
Everything's
Life
cool.
is great.
She doesn't seem that
and-
bothered by her daughters being dead.
Yes, literally, like your
Not
daughter
bothered.
has been killed by this person in the second film. Yeah, in the third one, you're so over it.
Yeah.
like you're not bothered anymore, and you know you just gotta fuck the world and show them your tits. Which that line did make me laugh. I did like that when she said that. But yes, even that, I was like, you've just completely changed the character for
Yeah.
this film, and I didn't get it.
No.
It was very strange. I wish we could have a glimpse as to what the original third film would have
So I
been.
remember you saying during COVID they rewrote the
Yeah.
script and rewrote it and reshot it and changed it.
Yeah.
And
So the third
Why didn't they
film,
wait?
it ended up not being the film that it
No,
started
the
out
third
to be.
film was meant to take place in the same night as the first and Kills. It was meant to be all one night.
That's what I thought it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It would all take place on one night.
Yeah, it's very strange the fact that they just did a 180 and was like, no, we've got this whole idea as what this is going to be, and then be like, oh, okay, no, we decided we're not going to go down this route.
It's so disappointing because it started out so strong.
Yeah.
With the 2018 one, and I was there for it.
I thought it was great.
It was so good, and then it literally nosedived for me and just crashed.
I wish they had brought in Daniel Harris to be in like one of the more recent sequels, because she played Laurie's daughter in 4 and 5. She
Right.
played Jamie Lloyd,
Okay.
the little girl, if you remember, in 4 and 5.
Oh yes, the one
So-
with the little clown suit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she was Laurie's daughter, technically. And I think that would have been nice for her to have had her come back in it. And maybe not even play her daughter, but just have her in it. And same with Josh Hartnett, because obviously, you know, he was her son.
Yeah.
She's got these children and she just seems to forget about in the sequels.
She kind of forgets about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Lloyd was brought in because obviously Jamie Curtis didn't want to come back for any more, so they were like, "Look, we'll bring in her daughter for the new sequels."
Yeah.
And I think the 4 and 5 are still very good.
I remember
sequels.
enjoying 4 and 5 with the
They
little
are
girl.
good. I think 4 is obviously better because that was kind of like a whole reset on the franchise. The way
Yeah.
that like the first one was like, you know, the start of it all, and I thought 4 was really good. 5 was good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's just there's some character decisions that they decided to make which were quite upsetting, let's say. Sideline major character from the 4th one for new characters to come in and take over.
Right.
And then the 6th one, like I said, like I just
Curse of Michael Myers.
yeah, I just really, really, really like that. I love the. Everyone hates it, but I like the bastardized sort of Halloween theme that's a bit rocky, like
Yeah.
with a guitar and stuff. I just think it's really tense. And Weinstein's were obviously very involved in the 6th
Yeah.
one, and the actress that plays Karen in that film, the mum, if
Right.
you remember, apparently like one of the Weinstein, I think it was one of the Weinstein brothers were like, we don't want her, she's too ugly, her chin's too pointy, she hasn't got a very nice look about her, and that's why if you
Wow.
watch the film, she spends a lot of the time covering her chin
Okay, that was
because
something to
she's
watch
very
out for.
self-conscious about it.
That's
I'm not
awful.
surprised.
Yeah, well, it's the Weinstein brothers. What do you expect?
Yeah.
True.
But I was going to say that I just looked him up. David Gordon Green was
Yeah.
the director for the trilogy
And The Exorcist.
and The Exorcist Believer, which I'm just starting to think maybe it's a director problem. Maybe if
well,
it was
he
in
was
the
known
hands
for
of somebody
comedies.
else.
He was known for comedies, and it's very strange that he was suddenly put in to horror, because I think he did like the Pineapple Express. Is it Pineapple Express?
That is a film I have no idea who directed it.
I'm sure he was mainly a comedy director, which it's very strange for him to suddenly be.
It does look like the images of a lot of these films look to be comedy films.
Yeah.
But then, you know, Peter Jackson, he started in horror and then went on to do like lots of other things, and maybe he can go the other way. And
Well, Peter Jackson, yeah, he started in horror, but you can kind of see a theme though within his films. Even within Lord of the Rings, there are horror elements to
I
it
guess.
in the style and like the monsters and things like that.
But even with the
Yeah.
Exorcist believer from this guy, there are similarities between Halloween and the Exorcist believer, sort of character changes and things
Yeah.
that are very jarring and just don't make sense. And it's like, well, that's an odd choice, and
Yeah.
it follows between them. So I'm thinking it's more directorial problem.
Yeah.
Maybe
be.
just people.
Maybe
should
he
stop
just
giving
really
him
looked out
films.
with the first Halloween.
Yeah, possibly. With
Yeah,
the more
had it-
people involved in that one, maybe than there were in the
Yeah.
later ones.
did
'cause
he write?
It started
them all?
out so strong.
Or-
No, I think didn't John Carpenter have something?
John
to do with
Carpenter,
it?
I think, was like a producer and he scored it. But I think David Gordon Green may have written it with David Gordon Green and I can't remember what his collaborator's name is now.
Halloween Kills. John Carpenter is in there. Deborah Hill. Scott
They're just based
Teems,
on original characters.
Danny,
Deborah Hill,
oh, sorry, apologies. Yeah, based on characters created by
Deborah Hill died a long
Scott
time
Teems,
ago.
Danny McBride,
Danny McBride, that's it.
David Gordon Green.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, bless her. Deborah, her and John Carpenter were just a duo that just ticked every box because they made Halloween together, they made The Fog together, and they were so good as a.
one writer was different between the first Halloween to the 2018 and the later ones. So maybe Jeff Fradley. Maybe it was him that grounded the first one, so we can
Maybe.
contribute all of the greatness to him.
Oh, Danny McBride did write The Exorcist Believer as well.
Oh, there we go.
He did Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills. Oh, we did do the original 2018 one as well.
I think Jeff obviously
But-
was the writer there, but obviously we need to thank him for all of the goodness in that first one.
The first sequel, 2018 sequel, the character that always stands out to me when I watch it is, you know, the podcast people, the woman,
Right.
her bathroom scene is just so harrowing to watch. Like her
Remind
scream,
me.
like when she's in the toilet and Michael comes in and basically chases her under the stalls and she just gets stuck and her scream is just blood curdling. Like it's really, really like she's fighting for her life. It doesn't seem like she's acting. So I don't know if they maybe had done something on set while they're filming it
That's
to
it,
get
they-
that scream from her.
traumatizing her on set.
Yeah, which
Maybe.
isn't uncommon to hear of.
No.
No, Shelley
No.
Duvall.
Yes, bless her.
Bless her. We,
Rest in
R.I.P..
peace.
R.I.P. Shelley Duvall. We're
Yeah.
thinking of you still. But we would be remiss not to mention the Rob Zombie ones.
Yes, Rob Zombie. They are controversial.
I
I
like
liked the Rob Zombie one. I'd never seen it, and Nick got me to sit down and watch it. And
Yeah.
I found the Rob Zombie one, it's very dark.
Which version did you watch though?
The uncut one. I
Because
think.
there's 3 versions of it.
I don't know.
Whatever one I have on iTunes, I can't remember what it is.
Okay.
I'm sure it's the uncut
I
one.
really, really liked it.
How does he escape?
Oh, God.
I can't remember.
Is it a woman that gets brought into his room and stuff happens?
I don't think so. I don't remember that.
That does sound familiar, actually.
Or is it that the security guards are leading him out and he
No, I
breaks
want to
through?
say there's a nurse or something, like a woman being led into the room
patient.
or something.
patient led
Yeah.
in by one of the crew members.
That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, see, that was like the screener version, and then the theatrical version they completely changed how he escaped. That was then they released the uncut version, which was the original screener version, but then tied it in with the theatrical version.
Right.
So it's all kind of a
Just the bits I remember is that the beginning when he's really young, that kid is seriously creepy, and you
Yeah.
can fully believe he is an evil serial killer.
yeah.
The bit where he gets like a wooden log or
yeah,
stick or something
yeah.
and like beats one of the kids, and I was just
Yeah.
like, that's dark. I was
Yeah.
like, that's really twisted.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. Do you know what? I think that the remake, Rob Zombie's remake, is a really good.
I think it's a
I
great
think
remake.
it's great. I've not seen the sequel though.
If you watch the sequel, watch the director's cut.
Right, okay.
Like, aim for the director's cut because the theatrical version is just very hollow.
right.
Because again, Rob didn't want to make the sequel, and they were like, "You have to make a sequel." So he was like, "Well, if I'm making a sequel, I'm making it my own." So
Johnny
there's a lot.
Cashington's.
there's a lot of symbolism in it and stuff like that. And the theatrical version, none of it really makes sense. It doesn't really make sense in the director's cut either. But there's a lot of character development, which is so good between Daniel Harris and Scout Taylor Compton, who plays Laurie, and her friend Linda. Annie.
Because is it Rob Zombie's wife plays Michael Myers' mummy?
I
in the
don't
first
necessarily
one?
appreciate Sherry Moon Zombie as an actress.
She's in every. I
but
don't appreciate Rob Zombie as a director. His films, I
Sherry
do not
Moon
like.
Zombie has come on a long way since, say, House of a Thousand Corpses. She's great in Devil's Rejects.
Oh, Devil's Rejects is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
I think it's so
Is that
good.
the sequel to House of a Thousand
Yeah.
Corpses?
Yeah, I've never seen the
only
third
seen
one.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Devil's
and
Rejects
I
is
did
good.
not
Is
Is
like
it Three from Hell, the
Yeah,
third
I've
one?
seen it, 'cause it
I
makes
haven't seen it
I'm like,
either.
how did they survive the end?
The end of Devil's Rejects is perfect.
Yes.
Like Freebird is so good.
Yeah.
Freebird.
The Leonard Skinner song plays over the end, and
know
they're
it.
just driving towards
Don't say.
just.
I say I've never seen it.
We'll
I
watch it at some point.
I just watched House of a Thousand. I remember when I went to America, House of a Thousand Corpses had just come out.
Yeah.
And it was such a big deal. And so the people I was staying with, the daughter was like, oh my God, Rob Zombie's amazing. You've got to see this film. So I bought it and got back home and watched it, and it made me feel sick.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not the type of film that I appreciate. It was not for me.
It's gritty
And I
and
think I've
dark.
seen
Yeah.
some other Rob Zombie. Has he done anything else? Or is
Yeah,
it
he's
literally
done-
just that?
he's done a
No,
few
he's done many
films.
films. Yeah.
So when Nick suggested watching Halloween, I was like, no, I do not like Rob Zombie. I think he's weird. But
Watch
then Nick
Devil's
was like,
Rejects.
watch it, it's really good. And we watched the Halloween, and I was like, okay, I'll give it. That was a really, really good film.
Yeah, the only thing about the remake of Halloween that I hate is Malcolm McDowell. I'm sorry, people love him. He's a national treasure. I just think he's awful in it.
Who?
Malcolm McDowell, who plays Dr.
He
Loomis.
played Loomis.
Okay.
I just find his acting so bizarre.
I'm terrible with
and-
names, so I'm currently Googling.
I think Donald Pleasance in the original is bad. I think he was I think he was just a weird choice, or whether it was the script, I don't know, but he comes across as insane. Like he's just rambling about how this man is pure evil, like he's the devil.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, that
like
dude.
a
Yeah.
demon in human form or something. And he just comes off as insane.
Yeah.
And
It should be crazy.
I don't know if it's just, it could be just the character, it could be the script.
Well, I suppose he is kind of a bit nutty, isn't he, Dr. Loomis? And
A squirrel poo.
squirrel poo.
Yeah, it's nutty as squirrel poo.
I like it.
But yeah, he is. Now you said that, he is very odd.
Like, he just comes across as unhinged, and
Which
like,
don't a lot of people in the film like calm down crazy man.
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
he's just, I don't know, he's just so non throughout the whole thing, because he's just rambling to the police about how he's like the biggest threat you've ever seen, and then he just shows up at the end because he's just been wandering around the neighborhood, just like looking in windows. It's so bizarre.
But then you have the famous like gunfight thing that goes off, and then
I shot him 6 times.
yes, and then comes down and says, he's gone. It's like, oh my God, he's gone.
Gasp.
Yeah.
It is very that.
But Malcolm McDowell, I don't know what it is. I don't like his performance in even the sequel. I don't like in he's a complete see you next Tuesday in the sequel. Like his character is like horrid. Like you just want him to die. And I
Which,
think
you know, for somebody you need to try and be rooting for, that's not really
yeah,
a very good idea.
his character is really unlikable. And they said, I think Rob Zombie said that he made him unlikable. I think Scout Taylor played the post-traumatic stress character very good in the sequel as well. And the cinematography and the overall look of the sequel as well is so gritty and dark compared to, I know the remake is dark and gritty to an
Yeah.
extent, but it's kind of got a bit of that Hollywood polish still.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas the sequel is just none of that. It is like you are watching it through a home movie sort of thing.
Okay.
It's very sad and just depressing, but I think the director's cut is very good.
We will need to watch it. Might go on our list for this year.
Yeah, I'll be up for watching them again because I've not seen Rob Zombie's first for like
Probably when I
ages.
watched it, which was many years ago when we watched that. It was
Probably a good
long
10
time
years ago.
Yeah.
I think even Lewis likes the remake over the original.
Are they sort of done with Halloween now?
No.
Oh, God.
No,
there's
apparently
more.
they're gearing up for a Halloween TV series like they've done with Chucky.
Right.
So Michael Myers is
Okay.
coming to the small screen apparently.
Oh, dear.
But there is talk as well of a new theatre movie as well.
right.
They'll never be done with Michael. It brings in too much money.
I don't like sort of the TV show horror things, because it has to drag it out for so
It feels
long.
like it's been tried many a time and it's failed.
They
Chucky, I think, has been
Scream,
quite
Chucky.
successful. Scream was awful.
And
They did Scream, yeah. They
they've
did
got-
The Exorcist,
Yeah.
the TV series
That
with Gina
was slow,
Davis. I
though.
watched episode 1 and I didn't watch anything
There's
else.
that Alien one coming, Alien
Yeah,
Earth, which
Yeah.
might be okay. Who
I
knows?
watched the first episode of the Chucky one, and I've
thought
never
you
watched
watched more than
anything
the
else.
first.
No, I've seen
Oh,
the first
okay.
episode, but that's
Chucky's
it.
actually okay.
But it's very camp.
Yes.
I think.
Big time.
And,
Big time camp.
You know, and then that's kind of the issue with Chucky as it went on.
Yeah.
Like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
The first couple are quite dark and serious
Yeah.
and horror movie, and then they just seem to embrace this comedy element
Yeah.
in them, and I'm not a fan of that in horror
goes a bit
films.
slapstick and
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't see Halloween lending well to a TV show.
No.
I can't. Like,
But it's like you
Chucky
say,
is
it's-
fun and it's kind of tongue in cheek, so it kind of keeps you entertained. Whereas I can't see someone getting stalked for say 8 episodes.
Yeah, it's a lot to drag out. Like you just said it. It's a horror movie works well because it's a contained thing, an hour and a half for 2
Yeah.
hours, and you're done.
Yeah.
But to have 8 episodes, if it's on HBO or whatever, an hour an episode.
Yeah.
that's a lot of filler.
he's just
Yeah.
stalking a babysitter for like 7 episodes.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
oh god, he's in the bushes. Episode 6, he's still in them bushes.
He's trimming those bushes now.
He's gonna need a sandwich. He's gonna be hungry. You know, it's a lot.
I wonder if they'll maybe go down the route of rebooting the franchise, maybe like a few of the episodes of him as a child again.
Maybe.
That's what I liked about the Rob Zombie one, was that you got the backstory of him.
So a lot
as
of people don't
kid.
like that. They like
I
the
like
mystery
that.
behind him. I don't mind it.
See, me and Nick argue about
We
this
do.
a lot. That when I watch a film, my opinion is that you are taking me on a journey. I want a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Okay.
And I hate when films have either, like you just said, like, oh, the mystery of it. No, if I'm feeling this character, I want to know everything about them. I want backstory. And if you're giving me an ending, I want an ending.
An open ending is like Craig's worst
I
nightmare.
hate it.
It
And he
depends
will
how.
bitch for days about his wasted hours.
Yeah, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you've enjoyed the first hour.
He
and,
didn't
say,
enjoy
20.
it.
There's many a film, isn't there, where it doesn't have a
Yeah.
definitive ending, then you've lost me. I think it's lazy writing.
I can't remember which director said it, but they basically said that if you have a good ending, they'll forgive the rest of the film.
Yeah, which is true.
And
I
it
guess,
is-
yeah,
yeah.
I suppose.
It is true. If you can get me in the last 30 minutes of something,
Yeah.
then all is forgiven.
Yeah.
If that last sort of bit and the wrap up and the final payoff is worth it, I'll
Yeah.
forgive anything that you've done before.
Because there are some open-ended films that I think...
I can't think of any now, but I know.
I remember showing you It Follows and you hated me for
I
it.
loved It Follows.
I liked
Yes,
it.
I
Loved it
did
for
not like that
great.
at
No.
all.
So just-
Again, lazy writing.
See, I didn't see. That's what I was going to say. There are some open-ended films that feel like they don't need to be wrapped up with a bow because you can see where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Like It Follows, like you know that that's not going to end.
I feel like it was more the fact that it wasn't explained as to what was happening and how it originated for
I
Craig.
like that.
That's it. But this is my thing with a film. If you're taking me on a journey, I want a structure and I want a very definitive, this is the beginning, this is the middle, and this is the ending, and now we're closed off. I'm happy with that. But there is one Halloween film we have not mentioned or talked about.
I was avoiding it because I know your feelings on it, and I love it.
I feel like it will be very
That
split
film-
down the middle.
Annoyed me.
Yes.
No, get out.
Nick got us so Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
See, the problem is with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch
The
is...
script.
No. They
Everything.
shouldn't have called it Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Even though it was going to be an anthology, and I understand that, they should have just marked it as Season of the Witch. Because I think it is such a good Halloween film. It's got everything you kind of want about the season, like the setting of it being like a small town, like the autumn vibes of it, masks, costumes, toys, trick-or-treaters. It's just got so many great elements, and I can see you both looking at each other like he's talking bollocks.
No, you're right. Like the visual, what would you call that? Sort of the dressing, the aesthetic,
Cinematography.
Yeah, it's very that side of it really
It's
really
great
good.
in that respect.
I think just the issue is the script.
No.
The story was not good.
No, it is. It's great.
What is it, like aliens or
No,
something?
it's magic.
like
It's magic. He's made it like a deal to.
magic masks that are sort of going out to watch. Yeah,
They turn people
did
into
watch
bugs.
it and we gave it a chance.
Watch it again.
No.
There are.
I can't.
Do you know, it's funny because
And we
me
did
and Lewis
watch
were watching a YouTuber
The
last
uncut
night.
version, because you told us there was a specific version we had to get.
There was a bit more gore in the uncut version. So me and Lewis watching this YouTuber last night, and he was talking to his friend about like his favorite horror movie, and without a pause, he went Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. I don't even have to think about it. So I'm gonna get a tattoo soon of Halloween Season of the Witch. Like
And what? So like the 3 pump masks or
the
something?
3 masks and the TVs, and I just honestly I love it. I just think it's so creepy.
The Silver Shamrock like theme
Yeah, I love it.
just pissed me off.
love
Yeah,
it.
you got so annoyed every time. But then the people that made the film, whoever it was, said the same thing. There was like, by the end, we hated
It is.
that
It's a
theme.
jingle, but I think it's so cool. Like I just love it.
So many days till
It,
Halloween or
was,
something.
it was not even so much the lyrics.
Halloween,
That's it.
It was like the 2 notes that it plays over and over and over again, and it just, can't.
I
deal
just
with
think
it.
the idea of that, you could bring this into your house, and as a parent to your children,
Yeah.
because
It plays into that whole thing of like trick or treating and like
That's
the
another
razor blade in
open-ended
the
film.
like
Halloween 3 is an open-ended film. I
Yeah,
suppose
because he's trying to get it shut down at the end,
Yeah.
and then it just like cuts to black.
Yeah, I suppose
Yeah.
it's just meant to be like they didn't get there in time. It was unleashed because it's Stonehenge. They managed to steal part of the stone from Stonehenge, which apparently is back to pagan Samhain and all that kind of stuff. So it's like the powers of.
I
Samhain.
appreciate how rooted they went into the history of Halloween and like all that kind of stuff.
And I just hope that Tommy Lee Wallace doesn't listen to this because I'm meeting him soon.
Oh dear.
Who's that?
Tommy Lee Wallace, he's the director of Halloween 3.
I mean, at least he knows you're a fan.
Yes.
Which is the main thing, just not us.
Just not.
It's a strange one because you could speak to so many horror fans and they will either love it or hate it.
It is
It's like Marmite.
It really
Yeah.
is. It really, because Lewis loves Halloween 3. Like, he really enjoys it. And I think it's, again, that it has such a vibe. I think you need to watch it again. Now that you kind of know what it is, I think you need to watch it again. Because I think when I first watched it
I'm
when I
not
was
sitting
younger.
through that again.
Honestly, when I watched it when I was younger, I don't think I particularly liked it because I remember thinking like, "Well, where's Michael?" And this is so confusing. Like, what is this? But
Like I knew what I was going into. I just didn't appreciate what I was presented with.
It was just the story just didn't like it.
I just wasn't a big fan of it. And if I wanted to watch a film that was kind of very Halloween centric and focuses on like all the aspects of Halloween, I'd just watch Trick or Treat because I think that is a better film.
I think that's
It's
really good.
Trick or Treat is very good, and I love what they did with Trick or Treat. Like,
I'm just looking up Tommy Lee Wallace.
he made it.
He did Amityville 2 The Possession, which
Yeah.
I love. He did Fright Night Part
Yep.
2, which I love.
Yep.
And I just saw that he did it. So
Yeah.
I like a lot of his other work.
Yeah.
So if you do meet him and he has heard this, I like your other stuff. And Fright Night Part 2 I think is greatly underrated.
It is.
So yeah,
the
I
thing
like
with
your
Fright
other
Night
stuff.
2, going off for memory, the imagery in that scared me so much as a kid is that vampire on the roller skates coming towards the
Yeah.
screen. I remember seeing that when you were watching it, Craig, when we was kids,
Creepy.
and it creeped me out so much.
Good film that. I like it. I think it's underrated.
Yeah, I
But,
think you need to watch Halloween 3 again.
But was it last? No, it wasn't last year we watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
We watched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got so much stuff
Because
to
I
do
put
with
it on my list because I hadn't seen it because I just avoided it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I hadn't seen it for years for that because I knew it wasn't Michael Myers, so I was just like, okay, I'm not going to watch it because I've just heard it's terrible.
Come on, people, bully them into
I
watching it
really
again.
wanted to like it. I would thought, because there was such.
Jamie Lee Wallace. Jamie Lee Curtis even has a little cameo in it. She's the voice of the town that tells them about the curfew.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I think John Carpenter scored it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
I think.
Was he responsible for that horrendous theme tune? Right.
It's not horrendous, Nick. Get out of my house now.
So Nick will not be on the Evil Dead podcast because
I'm okay
we will
with
not
that.
have him back.
There's
But-
one thing you can say about Halloween 3, and that's not that the jingle is annoying. It is annoying. I can understand why you'd find it annoying. But I love it. It just gives me such warm, fuzzy feelings inside when I hear it. Like, there's a blow mold that Trick or
Excuse
Treat
me?
Studios, Joe blow molds, like plastic
Right, okay.
things, decorations. And last year, I think it was, Trick or Treat Studios released a pumpkin that looks like the pumpkin mask, and it plays the theme tune of Halloween 3.
Oh, okay.
And
Do you own the masks?
I've got the witch. I want to get the
okay.
pumpkin. I'm not particularly fussed about the skeleton one because it's just a skeleton mask.
Okay.
But I want the pumpkin one, and I've got the witch one. I've got the Halloween 3 Ouija board, which is over there.
Have you ever used it?
Yes. I used it with Mum and Carol.
Did you talk to anyone?
No, nothing happened, unfortunately.
Oh,
I just
okay.
googled the Halloween 3 masks because
Yeah.
I remember they're in
Wasn't it
the
Trick or Treat Studios or
the
something?
new
They
Halloween,
did it?
aren't they?
Yeah.
Is it the part 1 or part 2 though?
The first one. I think they even make it into the second one as well.
Because they kill somebody, don't they?
Yeah,
and then put the masks
nurse,
on them. So I remember that was a whole
I think
like,
they were
thing.
like little kids at a park wearing them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So in the first 2018 Halloween, that you see them on the street wearing them.
Yeah.
And then you see them in the park in the second one, but then they put the
was
masks on. Michael puts the masks on some of the victims, which
In
I
the
think is a
yeah,
nice
yeah.
nod to even tie in the third one
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a clever idea. And I just want to visit the Halloween shop that's in the third one. That her dad owns.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's just, when you look at it on the film, you're just like, oh, there's so much cool stuff in that shop. I'd be right at home buying all that.
Well, wait until you go to Salem and you'll be buying it all then.
Not long to go now.
So, but I think that's every Halloween film we've covered.
We kind of have, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there's any we've missed out. And we bitched and moaned about pretty much all of them.
Well, apart from the Rob Zombie ones
Yes.
and the first of the
Reboots, remakes,
Requel?
what is it?
Reboot? I suppose it's not a
reboot?
remake. It's
Because it acknowledges.
well, it's a legacy sequel.
Yeah,
It acknowledged the
One
first
and two
one.
is
No,
one,
not
just
two.
one.
Oh, so it's just one, so
Just
it doesn't
one.
acknowledge two.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why?
Because
So when
they
they
got
made the
rid of
decision?
them being siblings. It went back to her just being a babysitter.
Oh, was that in the second one?
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yes. Because apparently they wrote that in because they wanted a twist at the end, because it was around the time that Star Wars had come out with Luke, I am your father, or whatever
Right.
it is. And so they kind of came up with that.
Does Dr. Loomis tell her or something?
The
I
nurse
can't
tells Dr. Loomis when she
Right.
picks him up, but Laurie doesn't ever actually find out.
Oh,
And-
okay.
Well, she must find out at some point because she knows in H2O, but in the actual sequel, she never knows. She
Right,
doesn't know.
okay.
You're just told by the nurse telling Dr. Loomis is how we find out as a viewer.
Right, okay. Yeah, I'd actually forgotten all about that.
So they got rid of all that for the new one.
Do you ever find out what happened to Michael's parents?
No.
Which is very odd. They
Because he
never.
kills his
No one
sister
cares.
in
He kills
the
his
first
sister,
one, doesn't
and then
he?
they're
Yeah.
just like standing next to him on the street.
And it's the fastest sex session in cinema history, apparently.
Yeah, I'm sure that scene was like
yeah.
20 seconds.
Yeah.
Because the sister goes up, doesn't she, and has sex with her boyfriend,
Yeah.
and Michael's like spying on them or something.
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah.
But by the time, because he's literally at the window as they decide to go upstairs, and so by the time he walks into the door, grabs a knife, they're finished.
Wow.
Poor
Teenager.
guy. He's probably done before he got up the stairs.
Yeah,
you know.
typical teenager.
I mean, she's pretty much still naked, so God knows what they did in that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you don't actually see his parents. Anything happen to them.
No,
do
they
you?
just
Do you
wait
know who
outside.
it is that's behind the camera? Who is little Michael?
No.
Deborah Hill, one of the writers.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. She's her hand is the one that picks up the mask and the knife and whatnot.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
okay.
her that was behind the mask.
It's the clown mask, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first.
I kept thinking when I was rewatching it, how sweaty would he be under there? Because you wear a Halloween mask.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god, you sweat.
yeah,
Yeah. Which every year I say to Nick, don't buy a Halloween mask because you will have it on for 30 seconds when you get in, you'll take it off, and then you won't put it on again because you
Yeah.
get so sweaty. He always buys a mask.
Haven't this year.
No, he hasn't this
Well,
year.
we don't know what you're going as this year.
I do.
Yes, Craig does. I've got an idea as to what I might do if I have enough time, anyway. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because your Days Gone one was pretty good. That was a good
Yeah, it
one.
was good.
Thanks. Not my pumpkin head.
No,
No, that
very
was
cool.
good.
The bottom half was very makeshift, but the head was all right.
No, my head was great.
Yeah, especially once we put lights in it.
Yeah, that did. Look
I think that just took it to a whole new level for the photos.
Yeah, that did look good.
It was just annoying to see out.
We are off topic.
Yes.
We are. Well, we're still talking about Halloween.
We are talking about Halloween stuff. Yes.
We're just talking
Not
about
the
our own
film.
Halloweens. Yeah.
So I wonder if I'm actually this year I might put the remake of the remake 2018 one. I might put
Yeah.
that on my list of my films this year because I
Yeah.
do actually like that one.
I think it
Okay.
is very good.
But to me, I would just always be a standalone film. I will not watch the sequels again.
Well, maybe we should just watch all three of them in a go. Well, not in one sitting, but maybe like 1, 2, and 3, like in separate days, and just kind of like, Because you know how
I really
expectations-
dislike the third one.
I know, but your expectations ruin things. I think that's the
Maybe.
problem. When something is so overhyped, the way that the sequels to the new trilogy were, a film can never live up to the hype. And I think if you're really kind of excited to watch them and you're let down, sometimes a rewatch is what it takes to kind of go, oh, do you know what? It's not as bad as I remember. I've done it so many times with films. So many times.
Craig says no.
Computer says no.
Computer says no. Yeah, I was just not a fan of the third one. It was just, it was bad to me anyway. It was bad to me. Do you think you'll watch any this year?
Oh, yeah. I'll try to anyway. We've got our usual ones that we go to each year.
Right.
Like the Collingswood story and stuff like that and Trick or Treat Studio.
Collingswood story?
Yeah, it's a very low budget sort of Blair Witch type film, but it's all done through webcams. It was like one of the first of its kind for webcam horror, and it's based set around Halloween. And me and Lewis really like it. It's a slow burn film. It's like chat rooms and stuff.
I've never heard of it.
When did that come out?
2002.
Yeah, I was going to say very early 2000s. Because the girl that's in that, this is a nice little segue. The girl that's in that, who stars in that film, is one of the little girls that's in Halloween 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so do you know when Jamie Lloyd is in like the children's hospital?
Yeah.
One of the children that are in that she's friends with is the star of Collingswood Story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
It got
Full circle back to
yeah, yeah. See, still managed to come back to Halloween. It came out on Blu-ray, and I got the special edition Blu-ray of it, and it's just something that me and Lewis really like to watch. It's got a very good vibe to it.
I did see Trick or Treats getting a
4K
special edition.
Yes.
Coming out because I was tempted to grab that.
Yeah, so I'm still tempted. It comes out on the 20th of October. Like, why? Why release it
Well, it's
so
like-
close?
But it's like Blair Witch Project. Why is that coming out after Halloween?
Don't. That's pissing
Like
me right
20th
off.
of November or something?
I think it's like the 10th of November or 13th
Because
of November.
Nick was like, why would you not release that before Halloween?
well, when they released the Blu-ray of Ghostwatch with HMV, that came out like 31st of October. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you've given yourself, like, you shot yourself in the foot because more people clamber out to get it to watch it before
Halloween, yeah. Because that's when your films always see a massive spike, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's on the
yeah.
lead up to Halloween. So
Yeah.
you'll be in the Johnny Cashington soon.
Yeah, right. Chance to be a fine thing.
Well, I'll watch it.
Thanks. Thanks. What, Unholy you want?
Unholy, I'll watch it. Yeah.
None of the others.
No, all the other films are so bad. They're like Halloween 3.
Nothing's
Say
that bad.
Nothing's
How
that bad.
dare you? I'd be honoured.
No.
So that will conclude this week's episode of Mr. Stitch Films Creepy Corner. I want to say a big thank you to Craig and Nick for coming and joining this week.
You're welcome, and hopefully we haven't annoyed your audience by slagging off Halloween.
Well, everything.
Yeah. Here's me going, no, they're such good films. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this episode, this rather special episode on Halloween. And if you could give us a like and subscribe, keep the darkness alive, it's most appreciated. And until next time, stay creepy. Bye.
Bye.